So after we reach to the accounts tab, now let us let us add some more test cases, as in we'll go to create account and we'll try to enter some of these data, right? So creating an account, as in we'll again take a locator for the create account button, and we'll take it from here. So there are two matching nodes it shows, and I need this one, so we can say div, and this, no, this is not inside div, so this is a sibling of div. So we can start from the td tag, right? And then we need this child, so this is 1 2 third child, right? So how are we gonna write css for this? I'm just gonna say colon and child 3, and it should give the locator of this, right? So I'm gonna copy this and I'll go where I'm actually creating an, and I'll say private dot find element by dot css selector this dot click, right? And after I click on this, after I click on create account, I reach another interface or another page for creating an account, right? So this will be a separate page, like I can, like this is the create account page that we have already created. Now in this page, the functionality that we're gonna write is for creating an account, and I can say, let's say I need to enter the account name. So there are a couple of information that we actually need to provide. So let's say the very first thing I'll be doing private dot find element by dot css selector, and css I'll be taking for this particular element, that is account name, as a dot send keys, and we're gonna add this string account name over here, right? And this account name will be read from Excel, right? So let's go back to our test, and step by step let's see if we are able to reach up till here or not. So what I'll do, I'll just create an object of accounts page, uh, let's say account equal to new accounts page, and then I'll say account dot go to create account, right? And after creating account, we will go to create account page, and I'll say cap equal to new create account page, and then I'll say cap dot create account. I'm gonna provide the name, let's say Roman over here, right? So let's run this, and let's see if it works fine. It's signed up, and it should go to CRM. accounts, create account and name. Right. So up till here it works fine. But if you take a look at your test, then you can see we are creating straightforward objects. Right. Every time we are creating an object of a class and then we are calling a method straightforwardly. Right. So let's say if we have hundreds of business pages. So shall we, create objects straight away like this? Like, are we going to create straightforward objects? No. So this is where the page object pattern, that is what we need to implement over here. It's something like, if you have ever noticed, whenever you're working on WebDriver, something you may have seen is driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, right? So this whole statement itself is a design pattern, as in these are three different methods coming from three different classes. So we are not creating straightforward objects over here. We are actually getting it from their classes, but the object of these like classes are being returned from the method itself. Whichever method you are calling is actually returning the object of the next class. Right. So, as in, if I practically talk about it, page object model says that whichever method is responsible for taking you to the next page should actually return an object of that page. Right. Let's say if I talk about go to login. Right. So go to login. Let's say if we started from scratch, if I just sign out and again go back to zoho.com. So the initial test is go to login. It says like click on the very first page that we see over here is a home page, right? So home page, from home we are going to login. Going to login as in we are clicking on this. As soon as we clicks on this, it take us to the login page, right? So this method is actually responsible for taking us to the login page. So this is the login page. So this method should actually return an object of login page. So we can write over here something like return new login page, something like this, right? And once we go to the login page, we have a method called as do login. So once we perform login, once I perform login, so it takes me to another page that is our landing page, right? So after login, we have the Zoho app page. This is basically the Zoho app page where we are defining we need to go to the chat, CRM, or sales IQ, right? So we are going to CRM, let's say. So going to CRM as in uh, before that, like after performing login, the do login method is actually responsible for taking us to the Zoho app page. So this should actually return the object of Zoho app page. The return type for this method should be Zoho app page. So we're gonna write return new Zoho app page like this. Right, and then we go to Zoho app page. We have go to chat, go to CRM. So CRM page, go to CRM is taking us to the CRM page and CRM homepage basically. So we're gonna write something that says CRM home page. So it should return new CRM home page. Right, and once we go to the home page, so what next that we are doing is after going to CRM home, we are directly navigating to the accounts. So what happens once we go to CRM home page? So there's a top navigation section that we need to access, and this section is there in almost all the pages under the CRM, right? So this we are actually taking from the top menu. So directly we are going to the accounts page. So top menu is taking us there's a method that says public void go to account. So this is taking us to the accounts page. So go to accounts will be responsible for taking us to the accounts page. So I'm going to write over here return new accounts page, something like this. And let's see, after going to the account page, then we need to create an account, and create account takes us to the create account page. So this will be responsible for create account page. And we're going to write return new create account page. Right. And create account, after creating an account, so this like we have gone up till here so far. So after we fill out these details, whatever next page should gonna come, this method should be responsible for returning that page, right? So whatever that we have done so far, let us see how our code will be optimized by implementing this page objects, right? So what we need to do, we'll go to login test again, and so initially we are on home page and we have called the method go to login. Now go to login is responsible for taking us to the login page. So it should actually going to return the object of login page. So we can say this, and then we can say we can remove this statement and we can say lp dot do login. Now, do login is responsible for taking us to the Zoho app page, which is this. So we, instead of writing this over here, I can remove this and say go to CRM. Go to CRM, we're going to take us to CRM homepage. So we'll say CRM homepage, I'll say CP equal to this. Now, after going to the home page, like we want to go to accounts. Now, accounts is actually a top navigation, right? So we have directly called it from here. Now, go to accounts. I can even leave it as it is. Although we are doing everything on one single page right now because we have not implemented any framework like TestNG. So once we implement TestNG, we will be dividing this much into a different test, this into a different test, right? This into a different test. So we'll be dividing all these things into multiple test cases. Right now, we are just using it in a rough package and main method. So we are just checking the flow, the execution flow. That's it, right? So after we go to account, so this returns us account page. So I'll say accounts page account equal to this. So there's no need to write it like this. So see, straightforward objects are not being created now. Similarly, this returns us create account page. So I'll just take it from here and remove this. So this is how the entire story being formed. From home page, we are performing login. From login, we're going to login page. Then from login page, we are doing login. And then after doing login, we are going to Zoho app page. From there, we are going to CRM. From CRM, we are accessing top navigation and going to accounts. And from accounts, we're going to account page. From account page, we are clicking on go to create account, and then we are creating an account. So this is how the code will be optimized. after implementing page objects design pattern. So let's save this and let's run it and see up till here it works or not. So let's run this. And let's see, goes to account and finally it entered the account name. Right, so the entire functionality worked fine. So this is how you should avoid returning straightforward objects and implement page objects so that whichever method you want to call, you can directly uh, call it from these business pages, and whichever method is responsible for taking you to the next page should actually return the object of that page, so that whenever you call that method, an object of, let's say I called go to login, an object of login page is returned, and then with the reference of this login page I can then call the method from the login page. This is how your page object should be implemented. So right now we have just implemented the page object design pattern, right? But we have not completed the automation framework. There are so many things we're going to implement in this framework, and the architecture will be changed as well as soon as we proceed further, right? It's not like whatever that we have implemented so far, the things will remain as it is. We will be doing so many implementation and so many changes in this framework to make it a very powerful framework, right?